To begin this lecture on stratification, I want you just to think about as many ways as you can in which people are not equal to each other. Look at those images can certainly give you some hints, but take some time just to maybe think this out, or if you want to write it down on a list, go ahead. But think about ways that people are different from each other, or the ways that people are not the same. And you can certainly pause the video to think of those things or make that list. In America, one of our founding documents, one of our most important political um, documents, the Declaration of Independence, says that all men are created equal. And in America, this is something that we take seriously and many people take to heart. We believe that now notice that Thomas Jefferson, when he wrote that, he did say men, he did not say women. So right off the bat, that introduces, a source of inequality, that being gender inequality. But my point is that in America, many people take seriously this notion that all individuals are created equal. The issue sociologically, and what we're going to study this week when we talk about stratification, is that even if we believe that all men are created equal, they do not necessarily stay that way. Think about the very moment at which someone is born. Some individuals are born in a hospital under the care of highly trained medical professionals. Some individuals are born on a bathroom floor with no trained professionals to assist that mother deliver the baby and to ensure the baby's health. Um, some children are born, some babies are born to, two parents. Some children are born to a mother and the father has left or maybe, tragically died. So we see different family structures, one parent or two parents from the moment, a child is born. Children are born to, children might be born to an immensely wealthy family, or a child might be born to a family with no income, no wealth whatsoever. So in America, we have this notion that all individuals are created equal and should have the same legal rights. And we believe that people are created that way. But from the moment people are born and then throughout the life course, inequality sets in and actually gets worse throughout the life course. So as sociologists, this is something that certainly we need to understand and deal with. Let's clarify some terms here. When we talk about inequality, we're talking about a difference, basically. When we're talking about inequality, we're therefore talking about a comparison between at least two different individuals or communities. I cannot be unequal to myself. A certain neighborhood cannot be unequal to itself. When we're talking about inequality, we have to have at least two individuals, at least two neighborhoods, at least two government, schools, so on and so forth. Inequality refers to differences along lines of wealth, prestige, or power. When we talk about inequality in sociology, we're talking about a difference between at least two, you know, items. It might be people, it might be neighborhoods, it might be schools, but differences in wealth, prestige, and power. That's inequality. Stratification is the ranking system that follows from that inequality. What I mean by this is when we talk about stratification, we're basically talking about a hierarchy of these different inequalities. We have some people who are very wealthy, some people who are very prestigious, some people have a lot of power, and people who don't quite have as much wealth, prestige, or power. When we talk about stratification, we're talking about the hierarchy or the ranking system of individuals along these different dimensions of inequality. And notice it's not just wealth, prestige, or power. When you talk about stratification, people are ranked according to numerous dimensions of inequality. It might be income, might be one's race or ethnicity, might be how much power someone has, might be how much wealth, the value of someone's assets someone has. It might be their education, like their highest level of education, or maybe the types of schools they attended. And there's other factors too, and we're going to talk about those very soon. Stratification is an abstract concept. What I mean by that is, there's no master list. I cannot. It's not like creditkarma.com or like freecreditscore.com, where I can go on a website, maybe enter like my social security number, some identifying information about me, and I can receive like my credit score. I can't go to like a stratification website and see exactly where, out of 320 million Americans, where do I rank? There's nothing like that. There's no actual numeric ranking. There's no like list you can take a look at. Stratification is abstract, meaning that it's something that we think about, but it's hard to observe. That said, the reason why we pay so much attention to stratification in sociology is because it has immensely powerful and very durable, meaning lasting effects on how individuals can access or cannot access different outcomes. How much money someone will make throughout their life, what kind of housing they will have, how much power, how much prestige, even how much they'll be respected by others. Um, these are all things that are to a very large and very real extent shaped by where we fall on that stratification hierarchy. People at the top of the hierarchy have a lot more advantages than people at the bottom of the hierarchy. So just to summarize this, inequality, simply stated, is a difference in wealth, a difference in prestige, a difference in power. Stratification is the ranking system of those differences. If I don't make much money, I don't have a very prestigious job, I'm a racial or ethnic minority, probably going to have a lower position on that stratification hierarchy. If I went to an Ivy League university, I have a prestigious position, like I'm an attorney or I'm a doctor, I'm going to have a more privileged, I'm going to have a higher up position in the stratification system. Other characteristics of stratification, for one, it applies to a wide variety of social categories. I touched on this in the previous slide. Yes, of course, we're talking about income. Of course, we're talking about wealth. Of course, we're talking about prestige, like how respected your job is. But, at the very beginning of this lecture, I asked you to think about different ways that people were not equal to each other. Many of those, I'm guessing, were actual stratifying mechanisms. People are stratified on the basis of gender. People are stratified on the basis of age. People are stratified on the basis of how much education they've received. We call that educational attainment. People are even stratified on terms of body type. We tend, people with certain body types or certain physiques might have more privileges or get more respect, might get more attention than people with other body types or physiques. Same with health. People with no health problems might be taken a little more seriously, might be able to do more things and just be generally more respected and more revered in society than people with certain diseases or disabilities or ailments. Secondly, stratification affects people's experiences and life chances. Life chances are a term introduced by Max Weber. And what life chances are simply the chances someone has to do well. Life chances is a term used to signify a person's opportunities for achieving prosperity. If I am the son of a board member at Amagi Bank, that's my father, and my mother is, let's say, an attorney for a big law firm downtown. I'm going to have pretty good life chances. I'm going to have better life chances anyway than someone whose father left them at an early age and whose mother is in poverty. Doesn't guarantee that I'm going to go on to achieve more prosperity in life, but I'm better situated structurally. I have better access to the privileges and institutions that will help me achieve success throughout my life. I have better life chances. Life chances in sociology just means the chances someone has to do well, to achieve prosperity. Third, the rankings in the stratification system can change. People certainly move up and down throughout their lives or throughout multiple generations. We hear about people rags to riches stories, for example, or very rich people who lose everything. People who go from being highly respected to maybe they commit a crime of some kind and they become disgraced. All of a sudden, nobody or very few people like them anymore. So our rankings in the stratification can most certainly change, but structural barriers will need to be overcome. The institutions in society do not tend to produce these types of changes on their own. Something unexpected has to happen, or somebody needs to exercise agency, their own free will, their own strategizing, their own efforts in order to overcome these structural barriers. There are different systems of stratification, and the main two are a caste system, in which people are ranked according to ascribed statuses. Hopefully, you remember from earlier in the course that ascribed statuses are the statuses that people cannot do anything about. An ascribed status is going to be your race or your sex, as either male or female at birth. In a caste system, people are ranked according to their sex, whether they're a boy or a girl. They're ranked according to their race or their skin color. They might be ranked according to their parents or maybe their father's occupation. Again, that's not something that we can do anything about. That's a caste system. Most common example of a caste system is going to be traditional India, where people are ranked and their opportunities in life are a product of these ascribed statuses. A class system, CLASS, contrasts with a caste system, CASTE, in that in a class system, people are ranked not according to ascribed statuses, but according to achieved statuses. People are ranked according to, merit or talent or abilities or past performances, like what your grades in high school, your grades in college, what types of schools or institutions you were admitted to and attended. In a class system, because people are ranked on the basis of achieved statuses and past achievements, it's possible to move up and down. We call that social mobility. Social mobility is movement from one social class. We'll talk about what social class is very soon. Movement from one social class to another. We can have vertical mobility, that's up or down, horizontal mobility, that's side to side, intergenerational, that's from one generation to another, or intragenerational. Intragenerational is really just a long, confusing word for meaning within one's own lifetime. Within my lifetime, I might have vertical mobility. I might move up. I might go from being a part-time worker in some type of retail store to being the governor of Texas. That's definitely intragenerational in my lifetime, upward mobility. Intergenerational mobility would be maybe, my grandfather did this, my mother and father did this, and now I'm doing this. If what I'm doing is a whole lot better, I'm making more money, I have more prestige, that's intergenerational upward mobility. If it's worse, I'm making less money, I have less prestige, that's intergenerational downward mobility. Class systems throughout the world are different. Some class systems allow for a lot more mobility. We would call those open class systems. Some class systems are more closed, meaning that mobility is possible but not likely. America is perceived throughout the world as having a more open class system than other countries. One of the reasons why so many people migrate here from other countries is because people believe that if they work hard and play by the rules, they can achieve success. America is perceived to have a more open class system than other countries, which are perceived to have a more rigid or closed class system. Is that accurate? Well, we're going to talk about that.